Hey there, book lovers. Welcome to 5 Minute Book Reviews, coming to you today from windy Northeast Ohio. So, I promised this time I would be reviewing The Lost City of the Monkey God by Douglas Preston. Grand Central Publishing, 2017, 328 pages, has an index, has a bibliography, has a glossy photo spread about right about the middle, at least in my copy anyway. So, you may have guessed, yeah, I picked this book up at the library sale, and it's a soft paperback, paid 50 cents for it. I was fortunate enough to pick it up right before everyone was told they had to stay at their house and avoid contact with other people. It's probably not ironic that I had this book over this hiatus, so to speak. I haven't been back to that library since sometime in March, which is really disappointing. I like rescuing books. Some people like rescuing dogs, kittens. I like rescuing books. I like dog ears on books better than dogs. That's just me. Anyway, this review is about The Lost City of the Monkey God. The title, frankly, ends up being a little bit more interesting and compelling than the actual book. But I suppose that The Lost City of the Monkey God sounds a little bit more intriguing than a narrative of the political, bureaucratic, logistical, and juvenile scientific academic community disputes we had to navigate to get into Honduras to play in the jungle. That really makes up the sum of the book. Relatively speaking, there was very little about their expedition into the jungle. Frankly, I found that a little bit disappointing. I'm not saying I was looking forward to Indiana Jones or anything, but I think I was looking forward to a little bit more about the city that they explored, the city that they were looking for, the artifacts that they were found, and I ended up finding that it was a lot more about the politics behind all of that stuff. And while that was somewhat interesting because it gave me a view of Honduras that I didn't understand or know about, and you get a lot of history of Honduras and that part of the world, which I thought was really great. I just didn't find that I got enough about the actual expedition. And frankly, I think that was a little bit disappointing. There's a lot of words expended regarding preparations for the trip, acquisitions of materials, logistical considerations, flying in helicopters, complaining about deforestation, history of Honduran politics, and history of the terrible people who came from Europe and eventually spread all kind of disease among these people, and maybe contributed to the indigenous peoples, not being there anymore. Who knows? It's really not a terrible book. I really enjoyed reading the book. I think Preston is actually a really good storyteller. He wove a compelling narrative replete with poisonous snakes, Marlboro men, bucket loads of money, rain, mysterious diseases, a damn near complete natural history of the sandfly, and much more. It was very well written, and I did enjoy it right up to the point where he wrote the following words considering the expedition's contraction of a terrible disease called leishmaniasis. He says, and I quote, I called Bradley, this is Dr. Kristen Bradley from Oklahoma State Department of Health, the state epidemiologist at the time, and I asked if the leash had really died out or if it was still around. She says, I'm not sure it's gone away. It's smoldering out there somewhere, quietly cycling in nature. It's waiting for the right combination of circumstances to break out again. When she and her team mapped leash cases in the United States over time, they revealed an inexorable spread northeastward across Texas and Oklahoma, aiming for other states in a northeasterly direction. Why? Preston asked, and her answer was immediate: climate change. Sadly, I had to plow through 300 pages of this book to get to this agenda. He writes, and I quote again, that the world's last great pandemic was the Spanish flu outbreak in 1918 that killed 100 million people, about 5% of the world's population. If a pandemic like this were to happen again, it would spread faster and might be impossible to contain. According to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, in such a pandemic, the death toll could reach 360 million, end quote. Well, he says more. I'm going to let you read and figure out for yourself what you think. Probably not ironic, again, that I read this book while trapped in my house because of a pandemic, but here we are. I wrote on the last page of my book, I said, I wonder what future generations will say when they come to America and start piecing together our history from archaeological digs. I wonder what they will say about the pandemics that we endured, how we endured them, and what those things eventually cost our nation. I wonder what those archaeological digs will say wiped us off the planet. 3 out of 5 stars, might have been more if not for this bit about climate change. Check out my Goodreads page, subscribe to my blog, hit me up here on 5-minute book reviews. And thanks. Next time we get together, I'll be reviewing this happy little book, The Soul of an Octopus by Cy Montgomery. I'll look forward to seeing you then. Bye.